From the pages of Nigeria's top newspapers to your radio.
It's from the dailies, your early morning companion.
Every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8:30.
Stories from the north, south, east, and west brought to you fresh and fast.
With expert analysis, sharp opinions, and sound presenters breaking it all down clearly, smartly, and straight to the point.
Politics, business, security, health, society. Nothing escapes the spotlight.
This is your head start into Nigeria's biggest stories of the day. From the dailies, news that talks to you. Only on Melody 107.7 FM, Lagos.
From the pages of Nigeria's top newspapers to your radio.
It's from the dailies, your early morning companion.
Every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
on Melody 107.7 FM.
Headlines that shape the nation. Stories from the north, south, east, and west brought to you fresh and fast.
With expert analysis, sharp opinions, and sound presenters breaking it all down clearly, smartly, and straight to the point.
Politics, business, security, health, society. Nothing escapes the spotlight.
This is your head start into Nigeria's biggest stories of the day. From the dailies, news that talks to you. Only on Melody 107.7 FM, Lagos.
From the pages of Nigeria's top newspapers to your radio.
From the dailies on your favorite radio station. Melody 107.7 FM. Stay tuned.
Beautiful Friday from this end, Melody 107.7 FM. I say pleasant morning wherever you have the opportunity of listening to this frequency, this fifth day of the month of December 2025. Welcome to From the Dailies on this platform. I will be speaking with excitement this morning, still savoring the excitements of the victory at the football match yesterday. I said at the pitch that my man of the match happens to be Israeli. Man of the match, how are you this morning?
Pleasant morning, good morning. Listeners, good morning. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of From the Dailies. Let's see what the news is saying this morning.
Okay, we'll be going through 4 newspaper pages mainly this morning, looking at Nigerian Tribune, Vanguard, The Punch, and The Nation newspaper. We'll look at what the cover has, then we'll come back to look at the main stories in this newspapers. Then we'll go to the corner where we would have our analyst who would peruse what we have in these covers. So let's start with the Nigerian Tribune from my side this morning. Okay, on the cover page of Nigerian Tribune, at the page 26 there, you will see Appeal Court bars VIOs from impounding vehicles, imposing fines. On page 6, Exodus of oil workers, Limbs Pengasin warns. Also, Article 4, Tinubu's nomination of former INEC chairman for ambassadorial position. Okay, the big bold one leading the cover on Nigerian Tribune is Ribadu Musa Kuka, upbeat about end to terrorism. It asks riders like terrorism, bandits to end soon, NSA. Nigerian cannot sleep with eyes closed, Musa. And this coming from Kuka, defense portfolio now in very good hands. Okay, also on the front page, you will see patient alleges organ harvesting in hospital. Ikiti government begins probe. Ex-NMA president Faduyili heads committee, I beg your pardon. Okay, also on page 24, suspected gunmen kidnap APC chieftain Uriade in Ibadan. APC leadership orders stakeholders expresses concerns. Tinubu names Ibas, Dambazu, Suzu, Gambari, and Angas ambassadors. And all lastly, on the cover page, inside, list of overtime cargo for condemnation domicile at Apapa NCIP PTML area command. These are what you will see on the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune as published today.
All right, away from that to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. The lead story says, "We will defeat terror, restore order and peace." This is coming from Defense Minister NSA. Terrorists need to be flushed out. Kaka tells Minister. That is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And we also have this on page 7. It says, "Appeal court affirmed judgment barring VIO from seizing vehicles, imposing fine." You find that on page 7. And when you flip to page 8, you find this saying, "President nominates Ibas Dambazao, others as ambassador." And moving on, at Imo Economic Summit, Etigbo, most significant stakeholder in the Nigerian project. This is coming from President Tinubu on page 11 of the Vanguard newspaper for this morning. And all of those you find on the cover page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Right, moving on to the Punch newspaper this morning. The lead story says, "Tinubu 65 envoy peaks breeze for Senate storm." That's a big diplomatic overall. You find that on the page 3 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Newly sworn in Defense Minister declare war on kidnappers. That's also from the Punch newspaper. Nigerian must protect democracy as Sahel face coup. This is coming from Ribadu. You also find that on page 41 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And flipping to page 29, PTAD monthly payout to retire SWA at 1 trillion naira. Moving on, immigration CG visits KB, vows justice after checkpoint attack. Federal government set December 20 deadline to pay contractors. That's on page 19 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And on page 41, we have this saying, "VIO heads to Supreme Court after losing vehicle impoundment appeal." Senate order nationwide crackdown. Senate order nationwide crackdown as lead prisoner poisoning eat Lagos. That you find on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. All of those you find in details across the pages of the Punch newspaper this morning.
Okay, we have Vanguard left.
That's Nation's left now.
Okay, we have the Nation left. Okay, let's look at the Nation newspaper. Economic climate now right, says Edun Dangote Uzodima. That's the lead story on the Nation newspaper. Over the masthead, you will see George turns down request for Kano's relocation from Sokoto prison. Appeal court seals order barring VIO from stopping impounded vehicles on highway. Repayment of 185 billion gas legacy debt begins. PSA kickstarts recruitment of 50,000 policemen. Also on the Nation newspaper, arming communities dangerous, Kuka warns. It has riders like Ribadu who will defeat terror. Okay, also President nominate Ibas Enang Chirma Ohakim Dahazu as ambassador. That's on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. We'll go for a break. When we'll come back, we'll bring in our analyst. Then we'll go into the details of the newspapers, and after it, we'll bring in our analyst to do justice to the stories. Do stay with us.
All right, welcome back. It is still from the dailies, reaching you live on Melody 107.7 FM, Iyanopaja, Lagos. All right, we've given you the headlines. Now going into some of the details of the story, starting with the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Ribadu Musa Kuka on beat about end to terrorism. National Security Advisor, NSA, Malamu Ribadu, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, and Bishop of the Diocese of Sokoto, Hassan Matthew Kuka, on Wednesday expressed confidence that the end of insecurity in the country is in sight following the recent changes carried out in the nation's security architecture. While Ribadu spoke at the National Dialogue on the state of insecurity in the country, both General Musa and Kuka made their remark at the State House, Abuja, shortly after the new Minister of Defense took the oath of office. Ribadu Musa Kuka on beat about end to terrorism. That you find in details on the Nigerian Tribune this morning. All right, still on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, Tinubu swears in ex-CDS Musa as defense minister. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I mean to say, has sworn in former Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, General Christopher Musa, retired as the new defense minister. The former CDS took oath of office on Thursday at the State House, according to Bayo Onanuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy. Tribune Online reports that following the resignation of Muhammad Abubakar as defense minister on health grounds, President Tinubu nominated Musa and transmitted his name to the Senate for screening as a replacement for Badaru. Responding to questions about the country's current security situation on the floor of the Senate during a screening on Wednesday, Musa assured Nigerians that the country has the capacity to win the war against insurgency, kidnapping, and banditry insofar as there is holistic collaboration by all. Justin Tinubu swears in ex-CDS Musa as defense minister. That you find on the Nigerian Tribune this morning.
Okay, going to the Nation newspaper. Harming communities dangerous. Kuka warns. Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka, yesterday warned of the dangers of giving harms to communities in bid to battle insecurity. He said there is a growing belief that communities can defend themselves by harming up. But harms would not solve our problems. They offer a false service of security, and when peace returns, where will those weapons go? Reverend Kuka said at a security event in Abuja. National Security Advisor Nuru Ribadu reaffirmed the government's commitment to defeat terrorism and restore order. On the Nation newspaper, harming communities dangerous, Kuka warns. Okay, let's take this story again before we move to that of an analyst. Let's look at economic climate now. Economic climate now right, says Edun Dangote Uzodima. There was a convergence of opinion by the public and private sector yesterday as the effect of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's reform on the people and the economic climate. Prosperity has been created and the right ecosystem put in place to facilitate investment, they said in Owerri yesterday at the Imo State Economic Summit. The event attracted eminent personalities from across the world who converged on the heartland of the Southeast for the event organized by the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodima. Among the dignitaries was Vice President Kasim Shettima, who represented President Tinubu. Economic climate now right, says Edun Dangote Uzodima. It's on the Punch newspaper this morning. Okay, we'll get our guest over the phone. When we'll come back, we'll look at what we have on the cover pages together, and they will be doing justice to those cover stories. Do stay with us. Okay, welcome back. We have our analyst at the other side of the phone, and that's person of Tunde Adejuma, public analyst. Good morning. Okay, let's look at these covers. Let's look at those covers. Let's start with that of the Nigerian Tribune. On Nigerian Tribune, we have Ribadu Musa Kuka Hobbit about end to terrorism. Let's look at their take on what terrorism, the new state of terrorism in Nigeria. According to that story, it has it that okay, I have an issue with the network. Okay, you can hear me clearly. Okay, great. Okay, the Ribadu Musa Kuka and others are saying that they are so sure that terrorism will be a thing of the past. The National Security Advisor, Malam Nuru Ribadu, the new Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, and Bishop of the Diocese of Sokoto, Azan Matthew Kuka, yesterday expressed confidence that the end to insecurity in the country is in sight, following the recent changes carried out in the nation's security architecture. Then, our question to you is this: with what has been put in place, the changes that have been made in the national security architecture, do you see solution as being something that will be achieved in the next few months to the insecurity plaguing the country?
Who are underperforming are removed and replaced with those who have the capacity and tenacity to deliver on the mandate of the president. I think it's a good one for the nation. But one thing I just want to advise my brethren from the north is that, you could see, when you see the security architecture of Nigeria today is mostly domiciled by the northerners. And the security challenges we are having in this nation is also coming from the north. So it takes a bold step for the president to have put them together to ensure that they clean up the north, but they have to be more proactive. Their level of proactiveness, I want to fault it to some levels. They have to be very proactive. You could see it's the southerners that are forced to even to hold a southern security summit of the governors and traditional rulers. This is and the security. Insecurity is more in the north than even in the south. The southerners being proactive than even in the northerners. So they need to be proactive. They need to be proactive. Though they've also had their own security summit, but I was expecting them to hold it first before the south. But I'm very optimistic with the new leadership on board and the security architecture of the nation. The hand to the insecurity is aside.
All right, so let's go to the Punch newspaper this morning. One of the lead stories this morning: big diplomatic overhaul. Tinubu 65 envoy picks breeze for Senate storm, and the president ambassadorial nominee will face rigorous Senate grilling next week as part of their confirmation process. That's one of the trending stories now. So let me ask now: what does the Senate promise to when we hear rigorous drilling? What does that signal about the legislative executive?
Well, because of the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and other countries, because of foreign direct investment that we're expecting, and because of other security, border security relationship that we need to have established or further keep in touch with other countries. I won't say this. The Senate already know the task at hand for the ambassadors designate, and they really want to ask them questions that will actually have an impact on the nation security, on the nation economy, and even on the well-being of Nigerians in diaspora. But the president is overwhelmed with activities, and then we need to start putting legislation in place so that at least if 6 months before the expiration of tenure of the ambassadors who are representing us at every nation, we should be preparing another another set of people, or even renewing their nominations rather, so that we don't have this lacuna, the space. That was what brought about the message that was sent from the United States of America to Nigeria by President Donald Trump. So there is a lacuna. Nobody is relating this, so that we can block the vacuum, so that within 6 months of the expiration of anybody's tenure, any ambassador's tenure, we can put in place another set of people so that they can take over from them. There won't be a lacuna.
So let me just ask this question before we proceed. To what extent do you think the Senate, their decision, the stance, do you think, to what extent is it genuine to the push of this ambassadorial appointment?
Well, like we've seen in the ministerial screening in 2023, I think, both in our state, as it were in the past. But I think the Senate President will be allowing more distinguished senators to ask questions on security, on bilateral relationship and economic advancement of our nation. So we are all waiting for it, and I'm very optimistic we will have a good screening.
Okay, let's take this lastly before we call it a day on the program. That's moving on to the Nation newspaper. Economic climate now right, says Edun Dangote Uzodinma. Yesterday, the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, organized a kind of summit, economic summit, where dignitaries present, also the vice president. And there, most of them reacted, saying that the economic climate, it's now right for foreign investors. Would you be of that opinion too?
Yes, absolutely. With the level at which the president is handling the economy, with the way we are settling our debts, and showing commitment to other nations that we are reliable, responsible, and even a country of integrity, and with what is happening in the aviation sector through the Honorable Minister of Aviation, who happens to be the gateway of any foreign direct investment to Nigeria, because you need to see how you can bring your investors to the country, and the first impression is what they see at the airport. And with what we are seeing from our renovations and other activities that are happening within our airspace, and the BASA agreement that we've been able to bring into place, and with the leisure arrival of the first leisure airline in Nigeria, I think we are on the right pedestal, and I'm of the opinion, and I told the lines of our manufacturers and investors in Nigeria who are saying yes, we are on the right. We are simply on the right, and it's a good one for the nation. We just need to maintain the status quo and ensure that we don't allow cabals to take over the economy.
Don't you see the challenges like insecurity, bad roads, electricity supply as something that can hinder these foreign investors in doing business in Nigeria?
Yes, they are part of it, and because we are now looking at green energy, I think we are solving the issue of electricity supply through green energy and gas supply. I think with time, things does not turn overnight. We need to continue to go through the process. And in the area of insecurity, thank God, your first question to me was on the area of the rejigging of the security architecture. I think we should just give them at least another 6 months to see what they are going to do in the area of terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping, so that our foreign investors can have a good sleep and a good time in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for being part of From the Dailies on Melody 107.7 FM this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Look at the voice you heard was that of Tunde Adejumo,
a public affair
yes.
analyst.